Well,
Well, there
go
you
ahead,
go.
Ian. No,
Okay.
you go, Ian.
I was just going to welcome everyone to our 44 of the of BeerCon. Well, it feels like 44. Actually, it feels like I'm sitting in the line after a long haul flight from Heathrow. It's summer, it's 35 degrees in the airport, and I'm in the line that doesn't have automated passports. That's exactly how I feel at this moment. But my problems are not nearly as exciting as Alyssa Miller, our next guest on BeerCon. Alyssa, thank you for coming and spending the last few hours with us. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Sorry, just before you begin,
Okay.
just going to announce that we've reached our target
Oh, right.
5255. So thank you for everyone who joined in, especially to James Chappell, who was the last to donate.
Yeah.
£121, Malware Tech, £134. Those two put us over our goal. So thank you.
And then Al Hafi is going to turn that into 6,255, which is just amazing. Just amazing. And Ray Redacted might add a little bit there because he also challenged people to donate more than 137 and 70 pence. He was going to match those as well. So this has been an outstanding success. All right, let's talk to Alyssa now. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
All right, well, hey guys. So first of all, my God, that's amazing. I'm loving that, and I hope people keep donating. Come on, there's plenty of room for more. So, yeah. So intro to me, quick. Hacker, researcher, security evangelist, you name it. I've been in security for 15 years. Or better part of almost 16 now. And, I've kind of been all over the map, right? Like I did a lot of work for a financial technologies company, working on their internal systems as a pen tester and running their vulnerability management program. And then I got into consulting, which is what I've been doing ever since. And so I've seen a lot of different things. And over that time, I've gone from the very, very technical pen testing to working at higher organizational levels with like executives and stuff and trying to how do we bridge that gap, right? And how do we develop security as a program instead of like, okay, I need to pen test this app. It's how do I take care of 900 apps and 2,000 network segments and so it's been a kind of a cool evolution. I kind of flew under a flag of anonymity for a lot of years, and kind of in the last, I did some talks at cons, but kind of in the last year, I've definitely made it a point to get more openly involved, I guess is how I put it, in the community. So, hey, I guess that's part of why I'm here today.
Well, mission certainly accomplished. I mean, I look at, what you're putting out in Twitter, what you're doing in the community, and it's really outstanding. So I guess my question is how did you get started? And what kind of advice do you have for folks growing up that kind of want to move into some of the areas that you specialize in?
Sure. So I always tell people how I got started was by accident. So, I started in university going for a pre-med degree. I was going to be a doctor, but 3 semesters of chemistry made it really clear that wasn't where I was going. I had taught myself programming in BASIC at like the age of 12 when I bought my first computer. And, I discovered that the school I was at had a computer science degree. So, okay, I'm not going to do pre-med, I'm going to go into computer science. Well, and now I'm going to age myself a little bit. We're talking, mid 90s. So .com boom, anybody who could program their way out of a paper bag had a golden ticket to get a job.
You're joining my startup called pets.com. It's going to be huge.
There we go. And so I ended up falling into a programming job full time while still in school. And that was with this financial technologies company. Well, that after 9 years kind of rolled into someone from their security team coming over and saying, hey, can you be a part of our pen test team? And that rolled into leading that team. And it was one of those things where I'm like, I've never pen tested. I don't know anything about this. I'm just a developer. And, the attitude back was, oh, you'll figure it out. And okay, I guess I did, because it's what I've been doing ever since. 6 years there, and now, another 9 years in consulting, and it's been a fun career. And so I get people who ask me the question you mentioned, well, how do I get started in security? And one of the big things I've noticed is when people ask me that, the first thing I'll ask them back, I'll answer them with a question like, what part of security do you want to get into? Or where's your passion? What excites you? Because if you haven't sat down and answered that question, there's nothing I can do to help you. So what I tell people is, if you're passionate and you have a feel like you want to get into security, whether it's you're interested in being in SecOps, or you're interested in digital forensics, or you want to be a pen tester, or whatever it is, figure out what it is that you want to try and play with it. Do what you can on your own, but kind of start to figure out where your passions are, or where you think they are. Now, security is great. Like, you can pick a passion, you can chase it. You find out after 2 years, oh my God, I hate this. I can't stand pen testing. I'd rather, go and work on the SIM and watch alerts and see what we can do to respond and get into that piece. Okay, great. You can make that switch. But the key is you've got to come in with a passion for something. I've told people in numerous mentoring conversations, I would much rather hire somebody as a hiring manager who has demonstrated passion and has maybe done some informal things. They did some bug, either they played with a bug bounty, or they did some CTFs, or they just, built a little environment on their computer at home in VM and were playing with Burp Suite or something. Something that shows they have a passion, than somebody who went to, some 4-year degree program, and then they got all sorts of certs, but they've never really actually used the tools in any practical sense. I'd much rather that person who shows that passion. And so I try to kind of coach people that way, like, find what excites you and go after it.
Very, very cool. So what are you seeing as the biggest security sort of challenges? Is it attracting people to a profession that can be really, difficult and a bit depressing, or is it retaining the people that we have? Like, do you see a lot of people going, oh, I'm done, man. I can't do this anymore. What are you seeing?
God, it's definitely both, right? I don't know that I can classify what the bigger challenge is. There's definitely the burnout issue. That's a big issue. And I think some of it, honestly, is maybe self-inflicted a little bit. I think we get so excited and so passionate about the things we do. And let's face it, most of us in security, we're pretty idealistic. We want to save the world. We want to defend the planet. That's so it becomes easy for employers to kind of exploit that. And not even necessarily intentionally, but you've got this person who's so willing to just keep working and to work all hours because their passion drives them to just keep digging. But on the flip side, and I was really kind of freaking out last night. I was so excited. I was in the car listening when Kirsten was on, and she called my name a couple times. Oh my God. But she pointed out the other thing that I think is really key is we talk about this skills gap. I'm not sure I buy into that. I mean, there is, there's definitely, it's hard to find the skilled people when you go out and look, and there's no doubt this industry still has a negative unemployment rate, which financially for us is quite lucrative. Always be jobs out there. But you look at job descriptions like she was talking about last night, these hideous job descriptions, and we joke about it on Twitter all the time. The entry-level position that requires a CISSP. What? You can't even get that without 5 years of actual work experience.
Or GIAC or CREST certified.
Who on their own is paying for a GIAC before they've ever had a job, right?
$37,000 a year to start.
Right, exactly. Like, are you kidding me? Or that job posting that she put up there last night, which T-Profit originally called my attention to, and 40 bullet points under requirements. Not optional, requirements. Come on.
Do you think? I mean, I did raise this question to her, and I think to some aspect, it's those that are asking for the jobs that aren't even sure what they're looking for. So, I mean, the fact they're asking for CSP for a junior role and unaware of what it actually entails, do you think they just hear these budget words and like, oh, let's just throw it in there and it might make us look better or something like that?
Oh, I think so. Absolutely. If you look at a lot of the job matching algorithms on things like LinkedIn or Indeed or any of those, yeah, that's part of what they're looking at is, they're just trying. I mean, think of all the times you or I get a message from a recruiter because they saw we had some certification. I can think back to, I actually at one point had a CEH and I put it on my LinkedIn profile and I removed it within months because the minute I put it on my LinkedIn profile, I was getting messages from all over the place wanting to know if, I wanted this entry-level analyst job. And I'm sitting there thinking, I think if I tell you my salary requirements, we're probably not a match.
Yeah. I put my Yamaha keyboard certificate on there, and I got like offered Murray Pariah's job with the. No, but you're 100% calling it out the way it should be, because yeah, I mean, a lot of this is done by algorithms. I mean, there is a certain art to SEOing your own resume, for good or for bad. And then, there comes down to this issue. And I think, I saw that thing on Twitter where somebody was looking for 12 years of AWS cloud experience, right? Which, you're looking for Jeff Bezos. Is that it? Like, what the hell? So Alyssa, what are the skills that a person needs today? Like, if I was like graduating high school, pretty decent marks, do I do a computer science degree? Do I do CompTIA certs? Do I just, start at a help desk? What path to adventure would you pick?
So let's start with degrees.
Okay.
I honestly would stay away from the computer science degree unless you're looking to get into programming. In fact, I will honestly say, and many are going to disagree with me on this,
Okay.
I would stay away from any of these cybersecurity degrees.
Right. Okay.
I would much rather see somebody who wants to get into security get some type of business related degree.
Right. Okay.
Because, Circuit Swan was on here earlier and she mentioned empathy and she was talking in terms of developers, but it's actually kind of bi-directional. And I think we in security need to have empathy for our business leaders too and understand what are they looking at. We run around in security, we're always angry that they just won't listen. They're so stupid. They don't understand how serious this threat is. Well, isn't it kind of our job to tell them how serious it is and get them to understand that? So emotional intelligence, empathy, that's where that comes in. And by having something that gives you that business context, the technical stuff is going to shift so fast, and it has. I mean, let's face it, technology is so dynamic these days that trying to keep up with that in a degree program just it's not effective. I mean, 1995, I'm in a computer science degree doing assembler programming, writing an operating system. I used assembler once since then. Now, of course, you get into hacking, then all of a sudden, great. Yeah, it was good to know assembler. But, in general, computer programmers don't need to know assembler. There's far more effective ways they could have been. If they had taken some time to teach me at that time, Visual C++, it would have been far more effective.
Yeah.
But there's so many ways otherwise to get involved in the technology side of it. I mentioned some of them before. Getting involved in CTFs at all these local conferences. Yeah. Most of the B-sides have all these villages where you can get your hands on the tech. You can play with this stuff. I mean, I went to B-sides Denver and I was playing with SDR hacking, software-defined radio, and I'm messing around with that stuff. Like, seriously, this is cool.
If it doesn't work out, many of our people can be passable locksmiths.
Very true.
I got that. I'll show you how to break into that car.
Talking about tools, like one tool I found personally that's really helped me and learn a lot and engage a lot is Twitter. Yes, it gets a lot of bad press, or perceptions, but I found Twitter has really helped me personally. Do you find something similar?
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, my Twitter account, I think, is 5 years old. At the start of this year, I had 65 followers because I didn't use it.
Right.
And part of what I told you before, like I'm going to get active in the community. I was done being anonymous. One of the big things I did was I just started to engage. And I mean, the wonderful thing about Twitter, is also the thing that makes it horrible at times. And that's the fact that anybody can see and respond to anybody else's tweets.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can mark your profile private, but most people don't. But the fact that I could go out there and I could get involved in a conversation with some of my heroes. I could talk directly to, Jeremiah Grossman or Jason Street or, Katie, who was just on before me. Being able to talk to these people and interact with them is such a huge thing. And to be able to bounce your ideas and get feedback. Yeah, sometimes you'll say something really stupid and people will slap you upside the head. Sometimes you'll say something incredibly intelligent, but people don't like it and they'll come after you. But being out there, being present, and that ability to really share a lot of information internationally really quickly it's dumbfounding to me. I love how our community comes together out there, even with all the drama.
Really? Okay. It's interesting because I think the consensus view right now on Twitter has been generally really super positive. And that fills kind of my heart with joy. And I think, I encouraged a master's class that I lectured at the University of Manchester to get on Twitter because that's where the action was happening. And I gave them the warning saying, be circumspect, try to use neutral language that gives you an out, like may, could, but I think there is a lot of value in our community. And I certainly have seen, an example of our community rallying behind various people, especially a hacker, fantastic Matt that we just had on with the controversy of Hacker House, etc. Valuable resource. How important are those new people going to those B-sides conferences and like trying their hand at the rookie track?
I think personally, to me, it's exceptionally important.
Okay.
And it's not just the skills that you can learn by playing with some of those things. It's meeting people, and it can be tough. Like, the first however many years I was going to conferences, I was speaking at conferences, and I was still afraid to go up and talk to people. It was very difficult. I'm socially awkward in general, and a lot of people in this space tend to be. So it can be tough, but especially when you get into the villages and stuff, that's where you end up sitting next to somebody else. You start joking about, what you're working on or anything else. And before you know it, you've made a friend. And let's face
or
it,
discovered an FBI agent if you happen to be at DEF CON. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Sometimes been there, yep. But we know in security that network is so important.
Yeah.
That's what makes Twitter great. That's what makes these conferences great. Just being able to network with people. You need a job, throw it out on Twitter. All of a sudden, you've got, everybody's retweeting open job positions, people that are searching for jobs, and people are getting connected out there. It's wonderful to see. And so, you go to these these industry events, and there's just so much you can do in terms of not just learning new skill sets, but also just networking in the community and becoming an active part of it.
I just want to add, so last year I had some personal problems and it was a really tough time for me. And the beer farmers, which the only reason they'd ever formed was because of Twitter, really helped me through that. So it's not just the security, the technical stuff, there's the whole human aspect to it as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I've had my share of that too. Maybe not, I'm familiar with your situation, and that was much grander than, some of the things I've been dealing with publicly on Twitter. But, I've done that too. And I think we all do. We kind of put that out there. My favorite story of that was Hacker Summer Camp this last year in Vegas. I had been out there all week, and it was kind of the last day. And I had just been in amongst the crowds, and it got to that point, as it does for so many people out there, that I was just overwhelmed. I've been dealing with all this different stuff that was going on, and I come back to my hotel room, my room's locked, and so I tweet about it, or it wasn't locked, excuse me. There's, the housekeeping is in there, so I can't get into my room. And I just tweeted out like, oh my God, you know, I can't believe this. I just want to hide in my room and I can't even get in my room. I got to go back to the hotel lobby and hide out somewhere down there. And next thing I know, I got Ray Redacted, you know, sending me a message back, says, hey, are you in this hotel? Yeah, that's where I am. Oh, come over to the bar and let's chat. I mean,
Ray is just a delightful human being, such a great guy,
he is
so intuitive of what people need, you know?
Yep, exactly. And that's why I tell him almost every time we interact, just how much that moment meant to me, that, you know, he pulled me out of that funk. And, you know, it was all because of Twitter, because I just happened to vent to Twitter that, hey, this was something I was dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Alyssa, unfortunately, we've run out of time.
Yeah. No, those 20 minutes go by quick. So
They do. But it's been absolutely delightful speaking with you and listening to you.
Just huge inspiration, I think, for everyone that was looking at starting out or wants to get more engaged with the community. Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we really appreciate you sharing your time with us. And thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on. I appreciate you guys doing this. Take care. Stay strong. You're almost to the end.
Yeah. All the best. Thank you.
Thanks.